Well, the Congress has promised 25 guarantees and 5 Nyays in the forthcoming manifesto, and one of the Congress's big promises includes a nationwide caste census. Rahul Gandhi and Congress leaders have reiterated time and again that if voted to power, the India bloc will conduct the caste census and remove 50% cap on the reservation. Rahul stated that there will be no reduction in the reservation of Dalits and Adivasis. Under the Hissedari Nyay promise of Congress, the party pledged a comprehensive caste census called to survey the population, the socio-economic conditions and representation in governance and institutions. On one hand, we have the Congress party that talks about caste and reservation, and on the other, we have Prime Minister Modi who pitches for Sabka Sath, Sabka Vikas, which means development for all. In the recent past, Prime Minister Modi has dedicated to the nation several developmental projects meant for all sections of the society, especially the youth, the poor, the women and farmers. 16 AIIMs have been opened and are functional, and 7 IITs, IIMs and 390 universities have been set up under Prime Minister Modi's governance. The 2024 Lok Sabha polls are going to be a war between caste promises for some and developmental promises for all. Now the question is, in this battle, who will India choose and whose idea is likely to win? We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Mr. Xavier Rodriguez, BJP leader. Pooja Tripathi, Dr. Pooja Tripathi rather, Congress spokesperson, also with us on the program. Mr. Vineet Goenka, political analyst. And my namesake also joins me on the show. Last but by no means the least, Mr. Nikhil Jain, political analyst, with us on the program as well. All right, I'll start with Dr. Pooja Tripathi. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, do you think in this day and age, caste and color and backgrounds and the Hissedari factor really matters? Or do you think when the country is going to grow, the country is going to make strategic progress, everyone is going to benefit? Like they say in Hindi, gehu ke saath ghun bhi pis jata hai. Isn't this something which should be the next level of politics they should be hoping for? Perhaps what Rahul Gandhi is talking about is the story, is the narrative of the past that doesn't really work in a country, even where people in the marginalized class today have cell phones, have access to opportunities and what's going around the world. Do you think it makes sense?
I think when you're forming a policy, Vineet, when you are drafting policies, when you are, making policies for the larger youth, you need to know the basic fundamentals is what is their numbers. The distribution should be equitable. It should not be equal. It should be equitable. And when we talk about equitable development, when we talk about the inclusive development, we have to take this factor that caste is the biggest truth of the society. And we have to know the numbers. Without knowing numbers, how will you? It's just like a family. A family of 5 needs how many rotis to be fed, and it's the same when we are talking about Hissedari. Jiski jitni Hissedari, uski itni bhagidari is what we are talking. On the contrary, when Prime Minister Modi says that he is working for the 4 castes, that he mentions youth, women, poor and farmers, what has been done for the youth of the country? 48.9% glaring unemployment at the face of the country. The demographic dividend which our country was proud of is been turning into demographic disasters. We see suicides due to paper leaks happening. 2014 BJP came to power and promised us that the share of manufacturing in GDP would rise to 25% of GDP, and now it has been reduced to 13.3%. We look at the gig economy. There has been no policy drafted for the gig economy. 2022 figures are there 7.7 million in workers and gig economy, which would increase by some 24.3 million in 2030. And there has been no fabricated, no structured policy measures for the gig economy. And that's why when we talk about youth Nyay, when we talk about filling up the government jobs, when we talk about giving them apprenticeship of 1 lakh, when we talk about structuring the gig economy, that's when we're promising the youth of the country. Coming to the second caste group that Prime Minister Modi ji mentioned, he mentioned Mahila as a second caste group. Not only the crimes against women are increasing every day, we are looking at 3 rape. The labor force participation rate of women has been decreasing, it has been shrinking, and we are reduced to just 20% of labor force participation, while at men it stands at some 81%. And then Prime Minister Modi goes on to reduce 100 rupees on gas cylinders on International Women's Day, whose theme was Inspire Inclusion, and that is the gift he wants to give to the women of the country. Asha and Anganwadi workers, and 30,000 Asha and Anganwadi workers have been protesting on Jantar Mantar in December 2023, asking for increased wages. And that's what when we have promised Mahila Nyay, we have promised reservation to women in central government job. We have promised, we are looking out Sakhi Nivas, the status of Sakhi Nivas in the country. We have promised them Savitribai Phule women hostels.
Dr. Pooja Tripathi, just to interrupt you, just once again, according to the NCRB, rape cases as compared to 2013, and a calculation which was done in 2022, have come down steadily, and in fact very apparently in 2013 the rape cases, total number of rape cases were somewhere around 37,000. In 2021 they are somewhere close to 30,000. So that has come down. So when you are talking about the safety of women, this is on record. You can go online and check it. I just checked it right in front of you live on this show. So obviously this data has to be analyzed, right? We need to have some papers in our hands before we actually jump to these conclusions. Savio wants to come in on this. Savio, how do you react to the allegation that Dr. Pooja Tripathi has made that women's security has not been a priority for the Modi government? I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm just relying on the data, which by all means has been held accountable for giving you. This is the National Crime Record Bureau. I have to take them seriously as compared to anybody else. Savio, I'll come to you, Dr. Pooja. Let him respond. Yeah, Savio.
My esteemed panelist, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, obviously is very articulate, but does not have the data that's necessary to back what she's saying. So while we are on the topic of the caste discussion, let me give you some data, because that's really what I am all about. In the 2019 elections compared with 2014 elections, BJP gained 39.6% SC votes, 15.8% ST votes, and 36.7% upper OBC votes and 14.3% lower OBC votes. Of the 303 BJP Lok Sabha MPs elected in 2019, there were 113 OBCs, 53 SCs, and 43 STs. A total of 209 out of the 303, which makes up 69% of the MPs belonging to OBCs and below. In fact, 94.2% of all OBC MPs were from BJP in parliament. 61.6% of all SCs were from the BJP, and 82.7% of all STs were from the BJP. Now let's come into some other data before I get into the question I want to ask Dr. Pooja Tripathi. Now she spoke about crimes. Now let's look at the crimes that have happened to SC and STs. During the tenure of the UPA, as well as the tenure of the NDA government under Narendra Modi's leadership, the truth is that if you look at the crimes in 2004, it was 32,422, and that went up to 58,515 in 2014. But when you compare to the crime that happened around the same time of Modi's tenure, it has only gone up 15%, while in the UPA regime it's gone up by almost 30%. And that is the problem. The problem is, while the Congress spokespersons are articulate in their aspirations and their rhetorics, the fact of the matter is, as you pointed out, Vineet, even on the NCRB data against crime against women, the fact is that data never lies. Humans can lie. Rhetorics can be, colored with flowery languages, but data doesn't lie. So you have a government in place. Now, if I were to give you data on what we have done for the SC, the STs, the OBCs, you will realize why is it that so many people, irrespective of their caste and creed, are willing to repose the faith in Narendra Modi as their leader, and they believe in the Modi guarantee. It's because there has been impact at a ground level. And I certainly don't believe in the idea of caste, personally, because a mother does not distinguish between her children based on caste or creed. And this is Bharat Mata we are talking about. We are all children of Bharat Mata. But for political reasons, it is necessary to create, Dr. Pooja Tripathi's words itself, an equitable balance for all sections of society. And that's what Prime Minister Modi has been doing. Sabka Sath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas ke saath. That's really what it's all about.
Okay. All right. That's a good point. Nikhil, how would you come on in this? Is this something that you feel should be driven by data, or or do you think this is perhaps a very grey area? And before making any kind of a comment on women's safety and security, and even their progress and diversity and inclusion, it's important to understand that it's a complex issue. Please unmute yourself, Nikhil.
Vineet, so the thing is that Savio gave some rather wonderful data points on your show, and they're rather enlightening for the people who are watching the show, for me and for the other panelists. What the Congress party is asking is for those data points to be captured properly. The data that is picked up is from a bunch of sample surveys, which can have massive inaccuracies. What the Congress party is doing is, let us pick up all this data about the different castes in a census format so that there is no inaccuracies, so that government policy can be framed in a manner wherein we can actually take everybody along, कि सच्ची में सबका साथ हो सके. So far as the BJP's political narrative is concerned, it is सबका साथ, सबका विकास. Unfortunately, ना ही सबका विकास हो रहा है, ना ही सबको साथ लेके चला जा रहा है. There is growth and development in the country as is the function of time and consequence, but that development, that growth is inequitable. Right now, there is the inequality in India is highest it's ever been since independence and even since before independence. That is a problem, and in order to have this development of the country benefit every Indian citizen and not just specific sections of the society, it is of great importance that the government of the day, whichever party it is, conducts a caste census, conducts a socio-economic census wherein people's education levels, their caste, their backgrounds are taken into account, and policies can be formulated according to that. And on the topic of rapes, the data may be favorable for this government, very good that the country has progressed and the number of rapes in the country is declining. But what my problem and a lot of people's problem with this government when it comes to rapes and crimes against women is concerned is that perhaps for the first time in the country, we have a government, a ruling dispensation that is very often seen in support or in patronage or just turning a blind eye to massive rape cases. We remember the Nirbhaya case and look at how the government of the day acted. The Congress top leadership met the victim. The chief minister did everything to make sure that the criminals were put to justice, and they were put to justice. But what has happened in Manipur? What has happened with the victims of women wrestlers who've been victims? What happened in Hathras? What happened in Unnao? The way this government turns a blind eye, or sometimes even just supports the rapists. We remember the Bilkis Bano people being, the sentence being commuted by the Gujarat government. That is the problem. That messaging where a woman does not feel safe that my government is going to support me if something bad happens with me. That is the problem, even though the numbers may be declining. So let's not look at it like the Congress is trying to divide people on the lines of caste or it's a regressive thing. It is simply the fact that when you have to equitably distribute the wealth and income of the country, you need to understand where the people are. To use Dr. Tripathi's example, if there are 4 people in a house and rotis are to be made for them, you need to first understand what each of their appetite is, and only then can you make the right number of rotis and distribute them rightly. And that is what the Congress is asking. Do a caste census, let's figure out where we stand, and let's formulate policy accordingly. Sabka Sath karenge, Sabka Vikas karenge.
Okay, Mr. Goenka.
Yes.
Mr. Goenka, do you think this these pointers in these promises in these manifestos are regressive in nature, or do you think, considering the complexities and the layered system of castes in our country, the Congress is perhaps doing the right thing?
Mr. Malhotra, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to all my co-panelists and all the viewers who are watching me right now. What do you expect from a 5th generation dynasty? The great grandson of Motilal Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira ji, son of Rajiv ji. He would continue the same legacy what their colonial master had in their mind when they formed Indian National Congress in 1885. Who formed this, I'm sure he would have thought, how do you divide? And see, his generations, his family, his dynasty was true to that. They divided this country in 1947 on the lines of religion, Hindu and Muslim. They parted my motherland into 2, India and Pakistan. Then in 1984, they divided the Hindu society into Khalsa and Hindus. Then in 87, they divided the Kashmiri Pandits, penalized them, moved them out of Kashmir. And then in 1991, they divided the Tamils. Congress started calling them Indian Tamils and Sri Lankan Tamils. Till that time, they were united. And now today, they are trying to divide the country, the religion, the Sanatanis in OBCs, caste, and other things. I think they're true to their masters. They're still, after 138 years, standing true to their master who made them. A. B. I wished Rahul Gandhi had even 2% of the knowledge which Dr. Puja has displayed here. But unfortunately, Dr. Puja, this country will not be divided once again. They have called the bluff of this Nehru and Gandhi family. This person, if he tries to divide us, we will come and stand together. Currently, you may have some 47, 48 seats. You may face further decline, 48. And I've seen in the history, whenever we try to divide us, we have come together. We will come together. Today, you see that Savio is with me. I am so happy that I have extended myself, being from the only Hindu to now inclusive, where I have other religions also. Whereas you see yourself been alienated. You have been, people are leaving you. The reason because you are not thinking in 2024 as 2024. You are still thinking the way your colonial masters wanted you to think in 1885. So please grow up, ma'am. This is Bharat of 2024. We want to progress. We want to see that we all grow together. And if you want real figures, let me give you some examples. In the case of Sahabanu, when the Supreme Court gave a justice, where my sister had some justice of, getting alimony from her estranged husband, your earlier leader, Rajiv Gandhi, late Rajiv Gandhi, overturned the judgment, penalized the women just because she wanted to appease second majority of this country. Today you see the current Prime Minister and the future Prime Minister of this country give justice to the same Muslim girl by abolishing triple talaq. If you want me to give another example, because of your misrule, my sisters, mothers, they had to go in open and deficit. We gave 10 crore toilets. You understand? You being a girl, you will really understand this pain which has been faced. Let me give you one more example. Your own leader, your own Rahul Gandhi's father said that he sends 1 rupee, but only 15 paisa reaches to the masses. He admitted that in his administration, 85% money went into corruption. Today, by direct benefit transfer, if a rupee has been sent, that same rupee reaches to the beneficiary, and the beneficiary does not have to knock anybody's door. So you see this not only inclusion, but also 0% corruption, 100% transparency. What do we expect from a family which has been embroiled from day one? Whether it is the car Ghotala, whether it is Bofor's Ghotala, whether it is Augusta Westland Ghotala, whether it is National Herald. And see, the Ghotalas go ahead. He's so confused. He is grandson of Firoz Bhai. On the maternal side, he is grandson of an Italian grandfather. Yet he does not know what he is. He calls himself to be Shandilya Pandit. Please explain it to me, Dr. Puja. Please enlighten me. How will grandson of Firoz Bhai or a grandson of an Italian grandfather become a Shandilya Gotra? So he will have to come out of this mindset of dividing this country. Now we are free, we are independent, and more than the independent, we are under a good rule where we think about progress. You cannot impose your colonial master's mindset to this Bharat today. So please, be yourself, else whatever 47, 48 member of parliaments you have, they will sum up and you will not even have 20-25 member of parliament in this 2024.
Okay, let Dr. Puja Tripathi respond to whatever has been said. All right.
देश को तोड़ेंगे मैडम, आप तो समझदार हैं. मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि राहुल गांधी को आपके कम से कम 10% तो बुद्धि है.
What Mr. Goenka is saying,
he's thrown a googly at you. He's complimented you, and yet he's made remarks against Rahul Gandhi.
When he talks about colonial masters,
let her finish. Let us. Okay, Mr. Goenka. Okay, no, let us speak. Please don't interrupt, sir. Let us speak.
Motilal to Nehru to Gandhiji. Okay, what was the single most contribution of RSS in the freedom struggle of India? Please
answer. They kept their country together. That's the contribution. Unlike Gandhi,
they sided with the two-nation theory. They sided with the British masters. They wrote letters to the British masters saying they will dilute the Quit India movement. They sent people to defend British Army in the INA trial. And here is Mr. Goenka being all nationalist, coming from the same RSS ideology of thought, who was responsible for the two-nation theory, and now becoming all nationalist and accusing Congress and taking us.
Okay, but this is not about RSS. This is about the promises. This is about the promises. This is also not about Motilal Nehru or Jawaharlal Nehru. This is about Rahul Gandhi, the Congress party. And is this what's going to work? Is this the formula, Dr. Puja? Is this the formula? Do what the BJP is not doing. Hold on. Is this the formula, Dr. Puja Tripathi? Is this the formula that do what the BJP is not doing, and that's going to get you the numbers?
Let me complete. Someone who comes from the lineage
of diluting our freedom struggle, siding with the colonial masters, is sitting in a newsroom and giving us lectures on the division of the country. Wonderful. So, Mr. Goenka, would you go to Miss Bilkis Bano, who was raped in 5th month of her pregnancy, and her 3-month-old child was shattered by a stone, and tell her कि हमने Shah Bano judgment दिया है? If you can do Shah Bano, how can you just garland the rapist of Bilkis Bano and offer them sweets? Can you do that? I'm asking you, can you do that? Can you ask a woman who has been raped in her 5th month of pregnancy?
No, but Dr. Pooja Tripathi, well, the BJP says that, those people did their time. They did the crime. They did their time. And if you're going to bring up Bilkis Bano, they might also bring in Yasin Malik. They also might bring up Yasin Malik, who was seen having dinner and lunch with Dr. Manmohan Singh during his prime ministership many times. So let's not get into that. Answer my question so that we stick to the point. Do you think this is going to work? That do what the BJP is not doing and that's going to appeal to the people?
Exactly. Do what the BJP is doing. When Rajiv Gandhi ji said that 1 rupee, he said 1 rupees and 15 paisa reaches, they just donate some 100 crores to the electoral bonds, and they get the contracts worth of 15,500 crores. They get contracts worth of 47,000 crores. ED stops knocking on their door, and that's what is the. When we say we would be undoing what BJP would be doing, we'll be undoing the massive unemployment, we'll be undoing the massive inflation, we'll be undoing the massive women security problems. There will be undoing the massive gender pay gap in the labor force participation rate. They will be undoing the violence meted out to the farmers of the country, the treatment meted out to the farmers of the country when they demand MSP. Go and give Bharat Ratna to Mr. Swaminathan, but you don't agree to his MSP demands. When we say we are going to the unorganized workers have been absolutely demolished in this government. They constitute 94% of workforce. So when we are saying we'll be undoing their effects, we are guaranteeing them right to health. We are guaranteeing them freedom from contractual employment. We are giving them social security schemes. And that's what, when we say we are bringing people to the core of politics, we don't talk about Modi ka parivar. We don't talk about things that don't echo with the public. We want this manifesto.
We've run out of time. I'm going to take quick closing comments from Savio and then Nikhil, and then we're going to wrap up. Savio, quickly.
Yes. So I just want to ask Nikhil.
No, 1 second, Mr.
Goenka.
Yeah.
I just want to ask Nikhil and Dr. Pooja Tripathi, why did Nehru oppose the caste census? 1. Number 2, when the Mandal Commission gave the caste census that was done and presented their report to Indira Gandhi in 1980, why did she not accept it then? Why did Rajiv Gandhi not accept it then? And what was the slogan of Indira Gandhi during her election time?
I want to answer
because we were not about caste or communities. You vote for the hand which was focused on India. So what has caste politics got to do with Congress right now? Please tell me.
So, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, when he was asked was the same question, he apologized in a press conference. He apologized publicly that the fruits of development has not been shared equitably, that the fruits of development has not been shared to the last man standing. When will your Prime Minister...
Okay, Nikhil, we have run out of time. I want Nikhil to come in, please. Let Nikhil speak.
Vineet, so I think honesty is the virtue that the BJP considers its biggest folly. That is why they would never be honest about anything. That is why they would never talk to the country about the electoral bond scams and all the other problems that are happening under their governance.
Is it a scam, Nikhil? Is it a scam, Nikhil? Okay, 1 second. Is it a scam, Nikhil? Nikhil, is it a scam if the Congress party has also received 1,600 crores through it?
There has to be a quid pro quo. If there is a quid pro quo, if the Congress
also has a quid pro quo,
then yes, it is a scam by the Congress as well. But so far, the
reports we've run out of time. Appreciate everyone joining us. Apologies, but we've run out of time. We'll take a short break on that note. Be right back.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.